You can work hard, work your fingers to the bone. But what good is the money when there's no one there to spend it on? And you can push, be at the top of your game. But what good is the top when the loneliness is driving you insane? The only way to achieve true wealth is through mental, physical, and spiritual health. The only true way to love oneself is through mental, physical, and spiritual health. Can't spend our lives on the wheel of fortune while it's spinning. All we see is a lonely dollar sign, hearts go cold inside. Something better, I believe. Can't spend our lives on the wheel of fortune while it's spinning. All we see is a lonely dollar sign, hearts go cold inside. Something better, I believe. Yeah, there's something better, I believe. There's something better, I believe. There's something better, I believe. Don't you believe it?
Information is free.
The law.
There is hope.
She was
Welcome back, My Night Outers. This is DJ Psycho Eddie. We have George from My Night Out RI. We have Davey Moore from Satellites Fall and Midday Records. So, tell us a little bit more in detail about this upcoming Midday Social.
So John Loreni from 100.7, he's going to moderate the panel again. We have Mike Delahanty, who is the talent buyer for the Met and Lupos, which gets, besides FET, they get most of the national acts. So he's going to talk about how bands can go about getting on the bigger shows in front of bigger crowds. We have Kristen, who is a music journalist, a photo music journalist.
Kristen Pearson, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. For Limelight Magazine. But she owns 2 of her own magazines. Her work's been in Rolling Stone. Is it Kerrang? Is that how you say that one? Alternative Press, stuff like, obviously, the Providence Phoenix. So she's going to talk about how bands can create press kits and sort of their online image. And then we have Michelle from WBRU. She'll talk about their local music show, the Rock Hunt, summer concert series, a lot of the national bills they bring to the city, and what bands can do to establish a relationship with them. We have some acoustic performers throughout the night. We have Amanda from The Spot. She's in Consuelo's Revenge. Brian Cook, and then Nate Cozzolino, who's absolutely amazing. And at the end of the night, and obviously the room's filled with whatever other venues and promoters and radios, which we're going to start releasing all this week. So just during the night, people are walking around, making connections and networking. The acoustic acts play, and then around 9 we'll do the panel. And then once that usually winds down by like 10:30, and then we're going to have a free show with the Quins, Dionysus Park Ranger, and S. Walcott.
Nice.
Yeah. I reached out to them after the Rock Hunt, so give them a spot at the social.
Cool.
Again, the whole thing's free. We usually have a couple hundred people there, all genres. I encourage bands to bring promo stuff like CDs.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely one to turn into the DJ to be played over the house system, and then other stuff just to hand out to the stations.
I always, or 99% of the music I play is all local on there, and that's where I get most of my music from, is from the stack of CDs I've gotten from Midday, and I've had bands that wanted to give me one at the Midday but ran out, and they've hunted me down at other shows just to hand stuff to me. And
the same thing happened to Scarpetti from HJY. He was like, he left there with a stack the first time, and then that kept him coming back.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's good that they're not just taking the CDs and they get thrown in the trunk of a car. They're actually playing them in all these stations, including you guys.
I have a guy that I give a ride to work to every day. Yeah, I pick him up every morning, give him a ride home every night, and he is tired of listening to all the local bands. He's like, can you put on like a regular radio station once? And that's just my way of covering two things.
Why? So you can hear the same song for 4 months,
Exactly. That, and my radio doesn't work anyways, but luckily the CD player does. Yeah, it's time for a new truck. Deb, if you're listening, hint, hint. So, now, when you start going to the Midday, do you have to be in a band, or do you have to, or can you just be someone who's a fan of the music?
Here's what's slowly happening. Initially, it was all people involved in the scene, and it was Providence and Boston. And then all of a sudden, it started growing. We started getting people from New York, New Hampshire, Connecticut, all the whole East Coast. And then it also started taking on networking, but also just the community coming together and hanging out. Venue owners who are always caught up doing their own thing and don't get a chance to hang out with each other and just have a drink. Mm-hmm. So I'm starting to see even just casual people that happen to come out to shows, but they're not in a band, or they don't, work for a magazine or something, and they're just coming out to sort of be part of the community, which is cool. So that's sort of like a side effect of the social.
And I got to say, every time I go, every time that I've been there, I always leave with at least a stack of business cards.
Yep.
I love the music. The CDs, like I said, I'm still opening CDs from the last Midday, because you got to listen to them a couple of times to make sure. All right, did you really hear that song right? And then you just go on from there.
Well, you DJ'd one of them.
Yes, the last one.
Yeah,
the last one I DJ'd. I did sound for the bands.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You still owe me a shot.
I owe you a shot, and I think that's
no problem.
Yeah, don't worry about that. You'll get your shots.
But No, I had a good time. I always have a good time there. But with the upcoming release of MyNightOut RI, that's one of the things that I got to be promoting, and I really can't do that from behind a
Don't worry.
sound booth.
The other thing about the social now is it used to be at platforms, so they weren't really equipped for live music. It wasn't like a live music venue.
Yep.
So we had to bring our own gear and staff and stuff. Now we're trying to spread it out throughout the city, so each event's going to be held at a different venue to support the venues. And this one's at the Spot Underground, so they have a full staff.
Yep.
So we don't have to worry about bringing speakers in and having somebody DJ. They have a whole crew over there.
Yeah, not to mention those speakers are hell getting them up to second floor.
Yeah. Well, the bands are going to have to do that. I mean, every time I gig there,
Well,
you deal with that.
That's part of what you sign up for as a band. You got to get your gear where you're going to perform.
Yeah.
I'm old and out of shape, and
That's one of the good things about slowing. We used to gig a lot, and you get used to it. You're just always carrying amps around and stuff, and now we try to be more selective about when we play. Like our next show's May 1st with the guy Brian that was in Weezer and stuff like that at the Met, and we have nothing before then, which is kind of refreshing. Just because we don't have to move gear around. You spend more time doing stuff like that than you actually performing. But I do miss performing. We slowed down a little.
well, I got to say, this year I definitely slowed down a lot. I would already have 10 or 15 gigs in if it was last year.
Yeah.
I definitely had to slow down, do bigger quality gigs. I'm not going to be DJing out of someone's garage
Yeah.
for a pig